What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Twisted Life of TV. I am Poetry. You are here for a new TV show called Washington Black. This is written, or not written, but directed and produced by Sterling K. Brown. You know, he's one of my favorites. And it's based off a book by the same title, Washington Black. I'm not going to do really recaps. I'm probably just going to do quick reviews. I'm still going to give you some spoilers and everything that's going on in the show. This first episode is called The Flying Man and the Musician. I clearly see why it's called The Flying Man, because that who Washington Black character is interested in flight and is interested in aviation. And the first episode kind of explains how that all developed, right? The musician, the character that represents, we didn't find out that person was a musician to the end of the doggone episode. So I'm not even sure. Well, I guess because he is interacting with that person throughout the episode, but we didn't realize he was a musician to the damn end of the fucking episode. So, anywho, child, I'm not sure if I like this show yet. It gives you a kind of fairy tale-ish feeling, as far as the production of it is concerned. It's supposed to be set in Nova Scotia. I want to say in the 1800s. Only because there's a presence of steam cars, and steam cars became really popular around that time. And it wasn't a man-made steam car like the original steam cars had the dude riding on the back of it and shoveling the coal to make sure the car was running. And this particular vehicle was manually operated with the steam in the coal. So sometime in the 1800s that this was taking place. And it also goes back to 8 years prior. Again, we don't know the specific year. They don't tell us. But 8 years prior in Barbados. One of the things that I'm finding very difficult about this show, in addition to it seeming kind of fairy tale-ish, like it's like written for Disney, you know, type of program, is the language. Okay. Now, I know Nova Scotia, Canada, they probably speak English. They may speak French. But the vast differences of the languages that are here doesn't make absolute sense to me, nor does it make sense to me in Barbados. So in Nova Scotia, we got Sterling K. Brown sounding like Sterling K. Brown. He sounded like a black dude from St. Louis, and like he always has, a little bit on the proper side because he went to a white school, but that's pretty much what he sound like, okay? And then we have some other patrons that's there. We have John Crawford. John Crawford sounds like he's straight out of Britain, okay? Then we have Angie. Angie sounds like she's from one of the islands, whether it be Barbados, Jamaica, you know, Antigua, Barbuda. She sounds like she's from one of the islands. So we got three different types of dialect going on in Nova Scotia, but now a hint of Nova or Scotia in the dialogue to me. Okay. When we go back to Barbados, we got these white men who are the Wilds. One of them is a slaver. One of them is supposed to be an abolitionist, and one of them is just entitled as I don't even know what to call him. So, they put him in a crazy home, so he must be the psychotic one. But he has abandonment issues, and it comes through in the form of hate. So these are the three brothers that's there. They sound just like some old regular Southern white men, Southern United States white men. That's what they sound like to me. And then you have some slavers, some enslaved people. The black man, dang it, I can't remember his name. He's works in the house. Sound like he's straight from Britain. Then we have the little young boy who is George Washington Black. Sound like he could be from Britain. And then you have Miss Kit. Miss Kit sound like she's straight out of Africa. Sometimes she sounds like she's from Africa. Sometimes she sounds from the island. They have very distinct tones, even though some of their languages can kind of cross over. She's supposed to be from the Dahomey tribe in Africa, you know, where the Woman King was from. That's where she's supposed to be from. And so every once in a while when she's speaking, she sounds like she's from, you know, could be from a tribal place in Africa. But other times she's speaking like she's from the Caribbean. Okay, so these are some of our main characters that we have in this show. The slavery you get tired of seeing slave pics, people say, and I was one that's like, I don't ain't necessarily tired of it because it's part of our history, but this doesn't seem believable. It seemed like it's Disney-fied. It seems like it's kind of gentrified in a way, which is kind of odd to me because I heard Sterling K. Brown mention that he wanted to make a show that really showcased who we are as people in every facet from every part of the world, who we are as black people. And I feel like I'm lacking that. I feel like I'm getting the watered down version of what these characters are supposed to be embodying. And so it's kind of throwing me. But like we start off with John Crawford. He's inside his home and he's playing around with some little figurine that he's built. It looks like a blimp, and he's interested in aviation. He wants people to fly across the world. So, and that's what his main focus is on. So he works apparently with a man named Medwin, and Medwin is also who rents out the place that he lives. He owns a bar, which they go hang out at too, and the space above he rents out as living spaces. And that's Sterling K. Brown, right? So they are about to be late for work, so they got to go take off and go to work. When they get down to where they work, which is the dock, and they basically just carry luggage for people coming off the ferries. And we have this one couple coming off the ferry named Tana Goff and her father, GM Goff. We don't know if the GM stands for General Motors or what it stands for. They never said it in this first episode, but we know it's GM Goff. Okay, it's very clear to me. Tana is a black woman or a biracial woman. She's black and white. It's very clear to me. But she's passing as a white woman. And they're not trying to trick us as the viewers. This is actually her role. Her father is a white man. He was a white elite in London. And he had to take custody of her, take her in when she was a young child. Well, sometime during her life or her older years, she announced to everybody that she was half black. So because of this, it kind of put a stain on who Mr. Goff was, Mr. GM Goff was, and they had to relocate it, or they wanted to relocate so they could start over, start fresh. Tana is believing that she's going to be able to start off and live her life as a biracial and or black woman, but Goff wants her to embrace her white side, saying though she's already ruined her chances at certain tutors and things of that nature by letting everybody know that she was half black. So we starting over here with you taking on the role that you are fully white. This chick don't look fully white to me at all. She just look like a red bone. That's all she looks like to me, is a red bone sister. If I saw her down the street, even with that man, I would think that's her daddy. I would think that, but I wouldn't think that she was all the way white. Okay, but that's okay. During this time, biracial kids weren't as prevalent. Mulattoes weren't as prevalent. So, that she could pass. And a lot of black people who weren't mulattoes, who was just fair skinned, they was able to pass as white women. And so that's what he wants her to do. He doesn't want there to be a stain on the family name. He wants her to be a white woman. Okay, well, way down on the docks, and of course, she catches the eye of John Crawford. He is smitten by her beauty. And, they exchange some friendly words, and we kind of learn, like I said, a little bit about who she is. He thought that she was a servant. So not only did I believe automatically that this was a black woman, so did he. He wasn't buying the she's white bit. So what the fuck, where did it come from? A goddamn gnat just flew in front of my face. So, she wasn't offended, but she was like, what makes you think I'm a servant? No, I'm part of the elite too. I'm part of the bougie. Okay, so get the fuck off my door. Damn dog. Okay, so, and it's just her and her dad. Her mom is not there. Like I said, we learned later in the episode that her mom has since passed away. Now, earlier when Medwin came by, he invited John out to the pub late on that night for a drink. And so John earlier had stopped by another little spot where this lady named Angie works. Angie She sounds like she's, like I say, straight from the islands. I think I mentioned it before. She sounds she's straight from the islands. She is he makes her aware that he's waiting on a letter from this league or this agency, so he can get funded basically for his invention. And earlier we heard him and Medwin have a conversation about the fact that he can't pay his rent because he's spending all his money towards these inventions. Now Medwin do believe in him and what he is about and that he's going to go far, so he going to let him slide this time like he let him slide last time up on the rent because he know he spent all his money on these doggone inventions. Okay, so we meet with Angie, so that we go to the club later on that night, and they all dancing, and like I said, they trying to really incorporate a lot of African culture in the form of music into the show, but it doesn't seem to match. It doesn't seem to fit. It's a club in Nova Scotia. They are doing dance routines that are, I would say, Euro-centered a lot. But they're dancing to like Yoruba style music, or I believe that's what it would be called, tribal music, music from the motherland. That's what the kind of music they are dancing to. We clearly see that Medwin and Angie got a thing for each other. He was dancing with some woman and he saw Angie. He stopped dead in his tracks, let that little woman hand go, and just like gave all his attention to her. But based off of what Angie was saying, Medwin is a little player from the Himalayas, you know what I'm saying? So, but you can clearly see that she likes him too. He's like, he ain't met nobody that can keep up with his speed. And she's like, well, maybe you ain't caught up to the one that you're supposed to be with, which basically meaning her. Like, she's 10 leagues above what he been chasing out there on the streets already. But Medwin tells John Crawford while we're at the bar that some big burly man got off the ferry earlier today, and he told everybody he was looking for George Washington Black. Okay, then we see John kind of blank out. We spaced out for a minute, and we go back to the plantation in Barbados. They supposed to be sugarcane plantations. Those are some short ass stalks. It looked like just tall blades of grass to me, child. But this is what they supposed to be cutting down. It looked like it's maybe about 20 slave or enslaved people on this land. The master comes in. His name is Walsh. His name is Aramis Walsh. He is the typical enslaver. Any slave movie that we see and they have a master, that's him. He embodies that character. Okay, the asshole with a name like Aramis. Go figure. He's coming in with a wagon with a dead body. One of the enslaved tried to get free, and he claims that the man jumped off a cliff and killed himself. And he's bringing their body back to them, let them know that they got his ass, right? And ask them, why the fuck are y'all trying to kill yourselves? Y'all do realize that a crime against yourself is a crime against me. Okay, so you're committing crimes against me by harming yourself, and I don't like that type of shit. Please understand, you my motherfucking property. That's basically what he tell their ass, right? And so we kind of get an idea and get a picture of who he is. Now, again, I told you there's 3 brothers. The second brother comes in, and he has like a steam car. Like I said, based off of the type of steam car that it is, I'm not sure if they were implying that he's the one that invented it, or he's trying to modify it and make it his own. Because a lot of people took the original car model and just revised it over and over again to get the cars that they wanted. So he comes in, and come to find out that his name is Tiff, and he's an abolitionist. I take pause with him because you are the brother of this enslaver, and you come into town, and you basically come to ask your brother to fund you. But in order to fund you, you also need to use his slaves, his enslaved people. He takes like 6 of them, to help move his bags and his stuff into the house. And he just like called him out. He pull up and he like, I need you, and you. And when he first pulled up and his car ran out of steam because he was out of doggone water, they had a water with the coal together. His car had ran out of water. Little George Washington, the little boy, he's about 12 years old. He said something about, the steam itself, which kind of caught, Tiff's. Is his name Tiff? It ain't Fifth. I think it's T-I-T-H. That don't make no sense. Whatever, child. The abolitionist brother. I forgot what his real name was. Tith was the nickname. And, he kind of catching his eye. So he wants him to tag along, right? So we go to the house. And while we're at the house, they put George Washington in a server's uniform. And then they put Miss Kit. Miss Kit was the woman, like I say, she's kind of like looking out for George Washington. And they put her in a server's uniform, which I didn't believe was typical. Well, in American slavery, that wasn't a thing. They separated the house enslaved from the field enslaved, and it was a way to create division among us as people. But in here, they are using them, crossing over from one deed to the next, right? So, Aramis is like kind of taken aback that his brother has taken, stock in little George Washington Black, and he has an interest in him, like he's like his new little boy toy. But like, so one of my things is, like I say, with the abolitionists, you using these enslaved people as enslaved people as well. By you calling them servants, you think that's making them any different than what they are? You're not paying them. This is forced labor. They don't have a choice whether or not they want to come do your bidding. So Mr. Abolitionist, you're doing the same thing as your enslaver ass brother. So I don't have too much of a liking for him, but they try to make this episode, they try to build this episode where try to make it seem like he's the only one who gives a damn about George Washington. So during the dinner, when Aramis learns what his brother wants, like he needs a place to stay, he needs a place to work, and he needs money, and he needs enslaved people to help do his bidding as well. To have the lifting of the whatever he's trying to build, which is the blimp. So since we started off the episode with with John Crawford showing us this blimp, we know that this is not his original idea, because now we're seeing it 8 years ahead of time, or 8 years before, and Tith has it. He's already built the model. He has sketches and everything and he's insisting that he's going to fly this doggone blimp and have it for travel across the world. It's the same thing that John Crawford was saying in the beginning. So something must have happened to Tith in these 8 years that now John is the one who's trying to push forward this invention as if it's his own, which is also something that's not very typical, because a lot of white people stole shit from us, the black people. We weren't stealing ideas from them and trying to make it our own. They stole the shit from us. So I was kind of like perturbed by that as well. But again, this is not based on true stories. It's based off a fictional book that was written. In present day, John, has to come to, Medwin has to snap him back like, hey, where'd you go? Come back, And there's a wall inside of this bar. Medwin decides to give a toast to the bar. It's called the Wall of the Lost. And the Wall of the Lost apparently is people who were taken. Either they didn't make it over on the boat, or they tried to run, or somebody grabbed them. And the way that Medgar gave the cheer to them, or the respect to them, put out a little liquor for them, is to say, to curse the white men's hands that took them, have their hands shrivel up and their dicks fall off. The way that Sterling K. Brown delivers this line, it just doesn't match the time. Matter of fact, even some of the dialogue and the lingo that's being spoken is something that's happening in the 20th century, not in the 17th century. So it kind of threw me off there as well. So we go back and we spend a lot of time with young George Washington as a young little whippersnapper, and inside the house there's another brother that comes in town. We find out his name is Philip. Philip has been in the crazy house in London. That's where his daddy had put him. The daddy must be dead this time. The daddy was the one who was the inventor, and Tith kind of picked up the mantle from his daddy. So we got the one who was like, they call him an abolitionist. I'm just going to call him a little bit more progressive. He is not necessarily chastising his brother about their hate. his brothers about their hate. He's not necessarily chastised his brothers about being an enslaver and how wrong it is. He's actually using his brothers enslaved people to his own benefit without compensation as well. But again, since he has taken his liking to little George Washington, he's showing him how to look through a telescope, showing him how to read, allowing him to draw or use to write, because that was supposed to be forbidden. He's allowing him to do these things, trying to make it seem like he's this good, grandiose guy, right? Well, the brother Philip instantly took a dislike to George Washington Carver because he like, all my damn life, you ain't never, as your brother, asked me to help you out with any of your little projects. You know what I'm saying? But you get this little slave boy here, and now he's like your fucking protege. So the brother took offense to that. He was offended by that. Now they go out, climb up this fucking mountain. He got about 15 enslaved people, like I say, doing all this fucking heavy lifting for him, Mr. Abolitionist and shit. Because you ain't beating them across their back. You not forcing them into labor. Is that what you think? Do you think this is some indentured servant type shit? I don't understand. I don't get it. Well, he sets up to fly this fucking blimp off this cliffside, and while he's doing that, the brother is being real asshole to little George Washington Black, right? And he tries to make little George Washington go run across this little big field to the blast zone, basically, to get him some food, because he didn't think the doggone adventure was going to work in his mind anyway. Now, originally, Tith had told George Washington to watch the damn thing and make sure nothing goes wrong, right? Well, once he decides to run across her and get this fucking food for Philip, the damn steam blew off the doggone blimp and caught George Washington Carver up in it. Now, this was supposed to create severe burns on George. The next time we seen him, which was the very same day, there was no burns, no scars. And he even said he's scarred for life. Where? Other than mentally. Being enslaved scarred him for life. Okay? Already, you know what I'm saying? But as far as physically, there's no physical burns on this man. I thought that's what they were referring to. Okay? So we go back to present day, and like I say, he's still trying out his little inventions, and he wants to make this little blimp sail. He's delivering over some packages and everything over to Tana house, which he learns is Tana's house. And that, again, like she's Mr. Geoff's daughter. And he's received some packages from the same academy or the same league that John Crawford is waiting to hear about an application for a grant for his blimp for him. They talk about some little artifacts, and he had a collection of marine life or deceased or dead marine life to make it appear as if he's a marine biologist. They chit chat about that for a second. Yeah. And they just kind of like I guess like really show a little bit of John Crawford's education level. He's well read. He's a well-read person. He knows a lot about the marine biology as well. When he was younger, we learned that he learned how to draw. He was able to see things in a way that other people couldn't visualize them, and he'll draw that out real fast, right? So he's multi-talented. He understood the new technology of the steam engines without even seeing them for the first time. He understood how to draw. He understands marine biology. He's just like a fucking genius, pretty much, this person. It gets weird, man. So later on, Mr. Geoff wants to introduce his daughter to Mr. McGee. He's the one who brought them or sponsored them to come over from London to America. And Tana is going through the house. She's looking at some artwork. They meet in the art gallery, and Tana learns from her father that she is betrothed to Mr. McGee. He's always known that she didn't know, and she doesn't like that. She wants to be able to choose who the hell she wants to be, whether she wants to be black or white, and she wants to choose who she wants to love, right? And the daddy said, no, we're not finna do that. You finna be a white woman. Okay, you've already put us through enough bullshit back in London, choosing to be or telling everybody that you was half black. And then, but he had made a statement about how much she looked like her mama, and then Tana went on this whole little tangent like, you completely erased my mother from me. You trying to use my mother, the ghost of my mother, the memory of my mother, to make me marry this white man. But you didn't even want me to be my mom because I look so much like her. You know, you kept me away from all my family. You wouldn't let me go back to the island because she was probably about 9 or 10 when her mom passed. So she was able to know her mother's culture and everything. And when the mother passed, the mother made him come get his child. Okay. And she said, like, everything about me, everything that I am, you have tried to erase and eliminate from me. He said, that's the fucking way it's going to be, pretty much. Okay. And so she's not down with this. So we already know how this is going to go. She's going to fall in love with John Crawford. We already know this. This story is very typical. It's... I'm already knowing what the story is about before it even happens. Okay, so when Melvin had told John that they was looking for George Washington Black, it made us realize, which I knew already, because it's like predictable as shit, that John Crawford is George Washington Black. Some man came in looking for him, got a bounty on his head, $50 reward. It's a lot of fucking money in the 18th century. And him and Angie both, denied of knowing who this George Washington Black is. Now the person who the bounty hunter is looking, he know John is that dude. He know this is the person that I'm looking for. But the strange thing for me is that George was in Barbados, right? So seemingly he has fled. I don't know if he fled back to London, but this ferry is coming from London. This is the same ferry in which this man got off the boat from London. Why is he in Nova Scotia, Canada, looking for George Washington Carver? You would think that'd be, why of all places Canada? Is that what you led to? And are they going to allow you to bring him back to wherever, from Barbados, I'm assuming? Because like I said, Wow did say, you always going to be mine, forever and always, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's where we're at with this show. I'm not sure what the fuck is going on. I'm not even sure if I fucking like it. It seems strange to me. The dialect is not matching. The production of the show doesn't match the era for me. The storyline is not really gelling for me. Or I don't know if this is supposed to be a love story, an escape story. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. I'm gonna give it another chance. I'm gonna give it a second episode, a second watch. But if I stay as confused, I probably won't go past episode 2. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. But again, this is Sterling K. Brown first go out the gate, either directing and or producing. So, he still gotta get his feet wet, But for right now, I want him to put his shoes back on. Keep his feet keep his feet on solid ground. Keep his feet on flat ground. Don't dip your toe in the water. Because this is not. I'm gonna give it another chance. I'm gonna give it another episode. We're gonna see how it goes, child. If y'all watched it, y'all watched Washington Black, give me y'all thoughts. What y'all think about it? Y'all think this is a positive show? It's something that's interesting to you, that you could follow the storyline, or the characters interesting enough for you that you want to know more about them? I'm not at that point yet. But anyway, thank you for coming to this recap and review, or this review with a few little bit of spoilers in it. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.